if you can hear me, if you can see me, if you can see the screen. Hopefully you can. You can write me in the chat if you can hear me, if you can see me. I guess you can. Hello from Serbia to Dubai. Great, great. Okay, so just a reminder, as I say on the start of each webinar, is that all of these webinars are webinar tools. Actually, are starting to have a more stable picture while we are here spending more time here. So at first it's unstable, then it starts to be more and more stable. So if I disappear for a moment, for a second, I'll be right back, so don't worry. Also, if you know, for you to be able to see me, to hear me well, please eliminate all the other tabs and everything that you are listening. So today we're gonna talk about something that's extremely interesting and extremely important. And I don't know if we will have time today for questions, but we'll see at the end. If not, you can always send a message to me on LinkedIn, and I can try to answer it. But let's go and dive deeper into the way we can measure the success of the demand generation strategy. So highly important topic, and also the topic that, you know, it causes so many different opinions because of the way systems in the B2B companies have been set. Lots of people have been looking at marketing only as a MQL engine, something that is providing only leads, and therefore companies are measuring the wrong things. And these couple of measurements are just one way to look at it. We can go more deeper into it. We can add others. These are just the ones that I decided to present today. And hopefully this presentation and this webinar can help you actually go to decision makers in your companies, or if you are a decision maker, can help you choose what can you track when it comes to demand generation strategy. So yeah, another reminder, I'm again alone on the webinar. Guys are still on vacation, so I won't be able to see your questions while I'm presenting, but I can see in the comments, but I can see them after I finish. So just have in mind that, and if you ask questions, please refer to which part of the presentation are you asking them, just so we don't go back and forwards to that. But let's dive into it. So if you're a B2B marketer, you should concentrate on demand generation strategy and monitoring the demand generation KPIs. You know, and now you ask me, I heard this a couple of times, why should I do that? Why should I concentrate on demand generation strategy and monitor the demand generation KPIs? What's the deal with this? You know, and let's go into it and see what are the reasons. You'll acquire more credibility within your company if you do that, and you will also explore the way your demand generation campaigns have contributed to the company's growth. So when you have the right demand generation strategy, your business will grow. It will go quickly, and you'll end up with lots of inbound prospects who are ready to buy. How does it sound? It sounds like enough why to go with this? For me, yes. So let's move on. Now you say this sounds like it's almost too good to be true, right? How can we align everything around the measurements that will help us grow quickly? Well, let's see which are the measurements and why those measurements are related to the specific results that are actually results of the business. Demand generation goes beyond increasing just interest and awareness. It's about developing, educating, and informative content. And it is the content that changes people's perspective. Okay, it involves lots of hard work, definitely, but you have to think long term always. If you are working in marketing, not thinking long term, it means that you are doing something wrong. But you'll never plateau as with lead generation strategies, because lead generation strategies are too short term. They are looking just for the contact, for the information. Therefore, they are, they are limited. There's a plateau to that. Because you are not educating people, you are just extracting contacts from them. You are getting what you want from them, you are not giving them what they want. So because of that, they stop producing results after a while. They focus on stuff that doesn't impact the company in the long run. And this is the most obvious difference. So why good demand generation strategy always defeats lead generation in the long term? I mean, let's do it. The majority of the B2B marketers employ lead generation metrics in their KPI reports. Some of them clicks, sessions, number of opens, downloads, or MQLs, or marketing qualified leads. What does it mean, marketing qualified lead? It means somebody who is relevant because they downloaded the ebook, they have listened to the webinar like this one. You are all now MQLs. And if we go with a logic that lots of B2B companies are now implementing, it means that we should call all of you, we should email all of you and offer our services. That's not how it goes. We are here to educate you, and in case you need something that we are offering, you can come to us inbound where you are ready if you become ready one day. So this is how it should work. Where does those short-term measurements leads the company? They lead them nowhere. I'm not saying that there's something inherently wrong with these KPIs, but those are only leading factors. And you should concentrate on tracking lagging indicators. What are those? Leading KPI track is performance before your company or process results begins to go toward a specific trend or pattern. So you should use leading KPIs to forecast movement or change, as well as manage the performance of the processes and systems. This is important. So you use leading KPIs to forecast movements or change, not to just extract the context, as well as manage the performance of processes and systems. On the other hand, lagging KPIs track performance after a process or company goes toward a particular trend or pattern. You should use them to validate long-term trends. Lagging indicators show you how well you manage a system or a process. So they show you how you perform long-term, not just in the short term. So how to report on demand generation KPIs? This is actually easy. Reporting is easy, but sometimes acquiring finance and sales data so you can get the reports is hard. When you are a startup, this may be a conversation with a CEO or the managing directors, so you can get all the information. On the other hand, when it comes to the larger corporations, you should bring bagels and coffee every morning to get the right information. It's hard, and you should extracting that information is a process. So we marketers, usually we like to talk about marketing metrics. However, this isn't the case with other departments. That's why it's hard. VPs and C-level, they don't care about the website sessions. CFOs, they don't have anything to do with ebook downloads. Finance and ebook downloads. CROs, they don't worry about the A/B testing results. I mean, pun intended. So when you put the things in that perspective, you see it's hard to get to extract the data that you need for your reports. And for business leaders to support your initiative, you'll need to start speaking in the business metrics. And this is the most obvious difference that is happening. This way, they can take a look at how your marketing is doing without actually having to understand every single nuance of it. The following KPIs that we're going to talk about today will help you explain how good your marketing is. So now we start with the KPIs. So first one that we're going to talk about is marketing source net new revenue. Revenue is always the end metric, right? If we were to single out one demand generation metrics you should add to your dashboard, it's net new revenue. It represents all new sources of revenue. In our case, revenue is sourced from marketing channels, and this is the part that we are looking at. So for instance, when an inbound lead from a company website becomes a paying client, it's a marketing source net new revenue. Or if the upselling success of your email nurturing campaigns becomes a paying client, that's also marketing source net new revenue. These reports explain the impact of marketing on the company's bottom line. It needs to include the entire amount of revenue marketing activities that are generated. And when we have it, we can go to the decision makers and say, hey, look, this is the net new revenue that came from marketing. You can do this in the Salesforce through the opportunity report. And this is how. Just sum up the entire amount of opportunities that were closed won. Include the filter for marketing source opportunities. Primary campaign and lead source are the two fields that can help you pinpoint your search. And this way, you'll understand how much revenue marketing is bringing to the table. The second metrics, the second KPI actually is contribution to total net new revenue. So we have the contribution of marketing, of the source new revenue, but let's see what is the contribution of the marketing to the total net new revenue. The majority of B2B companies got three main sources of the new revenue usually. It's marketing, it's sales, and it's the channel partners. So of course, different businesses different maturity stages. They have different splits, but usually that's how it's split. So you want to see how marketing is contributing. In Salesforce, make a new opportunity report, narrow down the closed won opportunities. Now group them with a customized field that splits the revenue based on the above sources. So sales, marketing, and channel partners. And have in mind, if you group them with the primary or lead campaign sources, you'll go way too deep. So you don't need to go deep. You need to go just to show how is marketing contributing to the revenue. So the third KPI is generated qualified pipeline. Keep in mind that qualified pipeline doesn't represent MQLs, marketing qualified leads. It doesn't represent sales qualified leads, SQLs. It doesn't represent sales accepted leads, or it doesn't represent even sales accepted opportunities, SAOs. You should go deeper than this for the generated qualified pipeline. So SQOs, or sales qualified opportunities, they represent those with the largest chance to become new clients. So those are opportunities that are from the sales team qualified as those that have the largest chance to become new client. And your demand generation KPIs should concentrate on the newly generated SQOs, so sales qualified opportunities, particularly when you're dealing with high ticket B2B services or product. So to be able to have this clear, have a talk with your sales leadership. Get to know their sales playbook. You should comprehend the criteria for opportunities that let you progress to the next stage. So basically, you need to know how do you define sales qualified opportunities in your company. Okay, sometimes all these that I'm saying companies don't have, we ask them these questions, we still don't have these things defined, and that's okay. Sometimes that's the situation. But if you know what is the sales qualified opportunities, but the sales, you can do a better job as a marketing leader and get exactly those people to the company. Okay, so you can get them to the level when they are becoming the sales qualified opportunities. This is the first metrics, the cost of sales qualified opportunities. So SQO, we just mentioned it a couple of slides before, is the first metric that truly separates demand generation from the lead generation KPIs. So here, cost per impression and cost per metrics are your leading metrics. So basically, you should employ them for guiding your tactical decisions, but not for lagging performance indicators. It's much better when you know how much you pay to generate an SQL. So step back, I told you that you should talk with sales and see how you are actually defining sales qualified opportunities. But here in these steps, we are measuring what are the costs of acquiring sales qualified opportunities. Because if you know who they are, you know how to get to them, then you are measuring the costs of getting those SQOs. If you didn't automate your marketing attribution model, that's great. Now you don't have to waste time attributing SQOs to a specific lead source. Always understand that the B2B purchase process isn't transactional. The client's journey is much broader and much more meandering, which means it goes like this. We don't go just to Google and find what we want and buy. We go to communities, small ones, big ones. We go to social media. It's the total different way of buying than a couple of years ago. So what you should do is ignore all martech vendors telling you how to know the return of investment of every ad campaign. Return of investment is not something that you should measure when it comes to SaaS and B2B tech, because those clicks wouldn't happen if there wasn't trust in the brand. You know, they don't show you what you have been doing before they click on an ad. They saw you on social media, then saw your content on Google. They have seen the webinar. They have read your emails. They are part of your Facebook group, and then you target them with the ads, and then click, and you said, okay, this is the return of investment. It's not. Content and brand sway more customers than you actually know. And to know how well you're performing, you should explore the cost of an SQO against how much you pay for marketing. So compare those two things. The next one is win rate. So win rate aids you in tracking how successful your marketing activities are over time. If your marketing is developing the right kind of content, your win rate should go up. If they are declining, you know that you're doing something wrong. And a note here is to remember to compare the marketing source win rate against qualified opportunities. So compare marketing source win rate against qualified opportunities. So sales velocity is another KPI that is very interesting. We're going to have a full webinar talking about this the next week. So sales velocity helps you track how quickly your company is bringing in new clients, basically. It's one thing to convert thousands of leads, but another if none of those is becoming a client, right? So if your ACV, usually people don't know what is ACV, and all these SaaS metrics are very confusing if you're not in it for a long time. So don't worry if you don't understand all of it. You will understand in time. You just need to understand the processes and what those metrics are representing. So if your ACV or annual contract value is over 25,000, you will understand that these deals don't close easily. You know, bigger deals, they are not just one click and they decide. It's not how it goes. The sales teams have to spend numberless hours working the opportunity until it closes. And B2B opportunities take months to close, sometimes even years. You're in a glimpse for a year or 2 or 3 when there are longer sales cycles, and you're working in sales not knowing where you stand for. I think I had a video. You can find it in my feature section when I talk about the discussion with a client that is having exactly that kind of a product. They are selling it once, and then the next time they are selling it is after 5 or 7 years. So all this time they need to communicate with the clients, because people change in the company, and things change, but they need to stay on top of everything, because they get the amortization and everything. It happens after 5 or 7 years. So they need to be able to be on the forefront of everything for 5 or 7 years. So that's how hard it is sometimes. And of course, it's always better if the prospects are better prepared. But again, demand generation is based on educating, on informing, or changing people's opinions. Those who have gained value from your content will always close faster, way faster, because you gave them value. They recognize the value for them in what you are talking about or what you are selling. That's why you should develop a relationship with them, starting from the top of the funnel. This is where it starts, word of mouth. We talked about it 2 weeks ago in the first webinar. So don't just introduce yourself when they are deciding between vendors. It's already late when you are doing that. So be the one that is creating relationship with them while it lasts. Talking about that product that I just mentioned, with sales cycles which are 5 to 7 years. If you are not on the forefront of everything, if you don't nurture that relationship for 5 or 7 years, and if you just show up after 7 years, it's possible that some other company, your competitor, is already creating a relationship with them, because people in the company is changing. New people came, they create a relationship with another company, and then you lose. So it's already late then. Have that in mind always. So marketing customer acquisition cost, or marketing CAC, is one of the most popular KPIs in marketing today, especially in demand gen. So let's talk about it. Don't grow at any cost. Of course, everybody wants more clients. You want them too, I want them too. But you need to ensure that your business is profitable in the long game. The majority of companies will watch out for their customer acquisition costs. So let's see what are those. Customer acquisition costs, or CAC, are calculated as cost of sales plus cost of marketing divided by new customers acquired. So we sum cost of sales and cost of marketing, and we divide them by new customers acquired. So the entire cost of marketing, when we say that, what does it mean? It means everything. So wages, events, tech stacks, vendors, ads, all adds up that we can add to it. So everything, those are all costs of marketing. It's not just advertising, or it's not just events. Everything gets into the costs of marketing. And marketing CAC is quite a strong metric that helps you stay concentrated on creating demand. Why? Because basically you see what are the costs of acquiring new customers. So do we need more trade shows? What's the cost of an ebook? Remember those questions? I think it's time that we leave those questions in the past. The answer to both questions is definitely no. Concentrate on long-term marketing activities that develop your content and brand. So let's see and talk a little bit about marketing CAC payback period. So it's we have acquisition costs and we have the payback period for those costs. These metrics helps you know how many months it takes to gain back marketing customer acquisition costs or CAC. It's the perfect metric if you want to increase your next year's budget. So you know how long does it take to get the money back. For example, most SaaS companies got a 12 months CAC payback period. However, this is when you add the cost of sales. So the industry average for marketing CAC period isn't known. It's very different from company to company. And if you want to calculate yours, you should definitely keep in touch with your finance teams. And you should know how your business invoices your clients, because it also have a part there. Why? Because it can be different kind of things. It can be on a monthly level, it can be on a 15 days period level, or it can be something else. What I'm showing here is for SaaS businesses that have monthly invoices. If you invoice over a long time or upfront, you'll need a different equation. So measure effectiveness. The majority of SaaS businesses got this kind of data. So take the charge and request it. Another one that we going to mention here is average revenue per account, or ARPA. Is the total monthly recurring revenue divided by total accounts, and this is how we get the ARPA. So what's the conclusion? Like Dr. House says, and KPIs let you measure the performance. Demand gen isn't at all similar to lead generation. It's something else. Demand gen go a lot deeper into the sales and into the finance worlds. You saw that relationship with the decision makers, with the CFO, with the CEO, with C-level executives, and all the others. They're the business metrics that helps you explain marketing to CEOs and leadership. So you should use them to build your and marketing's credibility. Learn how to talk the business language, because decision makers or entrepreneurs, business owners, that's all that they care about. So it was about time that we moved from lead generation to demand generation, also when it comes to KPIs. As the gift said, it's completely about fucking time that we do it. Marketing needs a makeover, and hopefully it starts today. Thank you for being here. Thank you for listening. Let me get back to it. I hope you were able to see my screen, because I see something that they say that you didn't, but I see nobody wrote on chat, so probably you have been able to see the content, right? Nobody's responding. Are you there? Are you alive? Yeah, about learning business language. Well, look, it's the same as we are already doing as marketers. So to explain it further, when you do a campaign, you know who are you talking about. You know who are your ICPs. But when you're talking with the decision makers in your company, we marketers forget that, right? So we need to know our ICPs in the company as well. It's the board, it's the members of the board, it's the CFO, it's the CEO. It's who they are, not only as a person on a position, but also as people. So if I don't know, the CEO is somebody with a background in development, they are probably a fan of solving problems and thinking like the engineers are thinking. So we need to present things in that way. If they have background in marketing, then it will be like easier to explain some things. But if somebody with a background in finance, or if you're going to the CFO, it's completely different. So you need to show them how the business will benefit from those things that you are suggesting to them. So how investment in hiring an advertising agency will get the benefit for the business, or how creating a different model for like going away from MQLs will benefit the business overall. They need to understand it. So, for example, some things that you can do is you can, break down all the channels, all the funnels, and then measures all the things separately to show them how it works. Show it how much does it cost to get an MQL to the position when they are clients. How much does it actually cost? Because they see, I told you a little bit about it in the presentation. They consider it as, somebody click on the advertising ad and they become the client. They just measure that part. They don't see the other part. They don't see the effort of the content, the effort of creation of relationships, all those things. So it's your job as marketer to explain this to them. And some of the business owners will never understand it, will never understand the value of the marketing. Your job is to try to explain it. If they don't understand it, then you should get a hell away from there and go and work for somebody else who actually understands what marketing can do for business. I hope I explained it. Yeah, cool. Okay, guys, if you have any questions after you go to the presentation, I think we'll sending it on Monday, and the recordings as well. Feel free. This is not something that you should go and take a look just once. Go ahead, go through it a couple of times through the slides, listen to the recordings, and then if you have more questions, come back to me or go to Google or go to Funky Marketing show. You can see the CTA above. Go ahead, subscribe, follow it on your favorite platforms. We are talking about these kind of things from week to week, and you will easily catch up and find out some things that you maybe now don't clearly understand, or you do not know how to implement them, and move forward with that. Next week, same time, we are doing another webinar where we're talking more about sales velocity. It's a very interesting topic for me and one of the most important KPIs that you should track. And not many people were following it, and now lots of companies are starting to do it. So I invite you to join us also next week, so we can talk more about it. This is the third webinar in a row. We have 5 more, so we're gonna hang out every week until October, learn lots of things, and probably be better marketers and better business leaders after this. Thanks for being here one more time, and any questions, feel free to address me on LinkedIn. As we like to say, always keep it funky, guys. Bye bye.